Full battery, empty card, I'm unstoppable today. So guys, today we are going to be playing with Olivia Palermo Beauty. Do you guys remember Olivia Palermo from The City? That spin-off show from The Hills, which is a spin-off show from Laguna Beach? She was like the villain in Erin's Elle magazine internship, and she was also like undeniably pretty. Like she was super easy to hate because she was smoking hot. I always love a good villain. I feel like she was the Blair Waldorf before Blair Waldorf, and I have like followed her on social media since then. I don't know why. I think it popped up on my Instagram and it was like Olivia Palermo Beauty, and I was like, yeah, I will definitely bite. That sounds right up my alley. I would love to know what the original Blair Waldorf is doing with her life right now besides sponsoring LG washing machine collabs. I purchased some of her things. I picked up her Primetime Illuminating Serum. I got 2 of her lipsticks, and I also got 1 of her eyeshadow palettes, of which there are 2. I wish that I could explain to you guys how heavy this packaging is, but since there is no way of measuring those kinds of things, I will just tell you that it's heavy and it looks like this. We're going to do, I want to say 2 looks today. I'm going to hope it works out. I've played with this enough that I've gotten the full Soiree. This is the Soiree palette, so I have gotten the full Soiree on my eyes so far, but I do want to do 1 look just with the more neutral tones first and then work on top of that. And since I have 2 lipstick shades, we'll go for 2 looks. We'll try. Anyway, that was all I had to say about that. Let's commence with putting on makeup. I have here her Primetime Illuminating Serum. I don't remember all the prices of these. I will go over that, but this one I do remember was $40. I remember that because everything felt expensive except this. I was like, this is a freaking, what? A full fluid ounce of a priming serum with supposed skincare benefits, and it was only $40. So that was neat. It comes in, I should show you the component. Very pretty. I'm pretty sure this is glass. It doesn't sound like glass, but it's super heavy, so I assume it's glass. And it's turquoise. It's only in 1 color. It's this lavender reflective pearly snot serum type stuff. But, oh, I don't know if it has a fragrance, but it smells pleasant. It doesn't smell strongly, but it does have a pleasant-ish enough smell. It reminds me a lot of the Vesca primer. Those 3 primers that they have that are all slightly reflected. So, very nice illumination that it adds to the skin. It is a texture. It's not so thin that you can't feel it. It's not like your skin immediately soaks it up and you only have that reflection on your skin. It does add a little bit of a bouncy texture. I find it to be quite nice, both as a last step in a skincare routine, or if you haven't done your skincare in a minute, to re-prep your skin so that your makeup goes on better. So I'm today going to be using the Makeup Forever Reboot. This is not a cruelty-free product. Neither is the Shiseido Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation. I bought this and this because they had the foundation sale at Sephora, and I bought them so fast, so excitedly, that I did not realize that this is an SPF foundation and it has octinoxate in it. I was wondering why I was breaking out. My face was going, excuse me? Like, we've talked about this. And so I unfortunately can't use this, but man, is it pretty. But I have this one in Y218. This is just one of those formulas that everybody raves about, and I just had to know. Plus, it comes in a whole mess of shades. So it's a very like light to medium serum kind of foundation. And it does have a scent. It does. What is it with luxury stuff where they're like, oh, we want you to feel like you really got your money's worth, so we're gonna throw half a bottle of perfume in there too. You know how smells are really reminiscent, and sometimes they're extremely specific? This one is like super specific. It's like I'm in a movie theater in middle school, and a girl went outside and smoked, and does not want her parents to know, and so she then doused herself in what she thought of as, at the time, as very mature smelling body splash, so it's not ideal. I hope it doesn't linger. Oh my gosh, but that stuff just sets down. It's crazy. It's so beautiful. And it's kind of like the Chantecaille Future Skin in the sense that like when you put it on, you're like, was I done putting that on? I don't know. It looks done to me because it meets you in the middle. It does about half the work for you. All right, I'm just gonna zoom through the rest of everything until we get to my eyes real quick. Also, I'm sorry if I'm yelling at you guys. Like my ears are really clogged up from my sinuses. So I will try and lower my voice. I am going to hold off on blush until we do my eyes because I anticipate my eyes becoming a little bit overwhelming to the look, but that is the first thing that we are going to do. So again, this is the Soiree version. I'm not sure what the other one is called. We will get into all of that, but it is 6 shades of powder eyeshadows. As I said, there is a cool taupe that seems to correspond a little bit to me to this warm goldy coppery color right here. We have a deep midnight purple, a very beautiful reflective kind of charcoal gray meets shift blue, and then these two gorgeous, honestly, like lilac and a little bit deeper of a like rosy plum color here. And they're gorgeous. When I swatched these initially, I was very, very impressed with the quality of the shimmers because, well, I guess it's a shimmer and a really beautiful velvety satin, because especially when you're talking about things that are a deep color that then shift a completely different color, they can be very underwhelming. A lot of times they are sort of a selling point for a palette, and then when you actually get in there, you're like, this isn't all that usable. I was really happy to see that not only does the undertone of the actual pigment shadow correspond really well to that shift, that blue shift, but it's a very celestial shift. So it just kind of, you know, reacts to the light without being something that looks really space age. Sometimes blue can go very, very spacey looking. And then this is just such a pure, beautiful foiled shade. I mean, you swatch that and it feels like the Tati ones that have Teflon in them, you know, where you're just like, whoa, it's so slippy. So we're gonna start with that one, and I'm just gonna do it kind of in a really simple smoky eye kind of thing, where I'm just gonna go shimmer, 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 and then a little bit of the matte like in my crease and highlight a little bit of that. So let's start there. I don't know if these have shade names. They do. Amaretto, Plush Tulle, Magnum Mauve, Black Tie, Skyline Dusk, and Gilded Glimmer. Anyway, I'm actually gonna start with my finger here in Gilded Glimmer. I haven't used this one yet, so you're experiencing this right alongside me. Yeah, I think Olivia Palermo also has brown eyes, so I don't know. It's again, me sort of jumping to conclusions, but usually the needs and wants of a creator like this deciding to do their own beauty line are reflected in the initial release, and I think that looks really, really nice on brown eyes. All right, I'm dipping a 206 in from BK, and I'm just using that underneath my eye and around the socket. I tend to kind of bring it up a little bit, follow my own natural socket line, but do whatever floats your socket's boat. Yeah, that color, it reminds me of Tiger Eye. I've got Tiger's Eye plugs in, and it does really reflect that. It's just a really nice, like genuine, warm brown. Warm, rusty brown. Wow, that could be one and done actually. Like, I don't even necessarily need the matte. But since they come in a palette and you can't buy them individually, we're gonna use it. But like, look how easily not only it builds just very naturally, but once it's on the skin, it blends out really nicely too. It actually feathers at the edges, and you still get a true pigment payoff. It's not like the shimmer leaves and all of a sudden the pigment that's underneath it is like a very strange color. It blends beautifully. All right, I'm going to take a fluffier brush from BK. This is the 202, and I'm gonna go into that, well, the color, even though they call it amaretto, looks like an almond liqueur, sure. It's a very like cool toned kind of khaki color. And even though, like I said, it could be the original one that I was using, the Gilded Glimmer would be a very, very good one to just use by itself. I do like to use a matte to finish the crease just because it helps the eye perceive a more believable contour because it's not trying to trick your eye in two ways. Now there isn't a like highlight shade per se in here, which is totally fine because it is a 6-pan eyeshadow palette and it's supposed to be a party palette. It's called Soiree. So yeah, I would say that you're buying this palette. If you're buying this palette, it is because you want to have fun with it, not because it's going to be your everyday go-to palette. That's just my personal feeling on it. So I'm gonna go into the Imperial Topaz palette from Wayne Goss, the original one here, and use that highlight shade because it is so nice and kind of gold undertoned mirror. There we go. I don't want to go too cool toned. It'll stand in weird contrast to these shades. Okay, in the interest of not wasting your time, I'm going to zoom through putting everything else on my face real quick, and then we'll just get to the lips so we can get to the next eye look. This is look one right before we put on this lipstick, and I just want to say, if it were just me, I would leave it like this. I would just put on like a nude or a clear lip gloss, and that would be it. But in the interest of showing off this collection, I am going to go with the more dramatic of the two shades that I got. So I got Rosebud and I got Chianti. Because the eye look for the second look is going to be more dramatic, we're going to save Rosebud, which is just the pink, for that. I'll go ahead and swatch them. But I'm going to put Chianti on with this, and it's gonna get nighttime real fast. These are, I believe, I want to say kind of a soft matte lipstick, but I think they're super creamy. Like, they're still really, really comfortable and nourishing feeling. And this is Rosebud, and this is Chianti, and then this is an eyeshadow swatch that I didn't bother to apparently wipe off. They are both beautifully cool toned. I love that about them. I would say, this is obviously quite pink, but it's not a very like red pink. It still has quite a bit of blue in it. And Chianti, as you can see, where it is a little bit more sheer, it definitely looks a little more berry, but as it builds, like, you get to almost a blue concentration right there. That's already kind of the color of my lips. Another person commented a while ago, and it's just, the comments stick with me. It says, no one, absolutely no one. Kackie, my lips are blue. Because I do have blue in my lips. And so this, looked very much like it was going to be my ideal shade. And what I think happens is it actually like takes it too far over the top. Like, I need something to kind of counterbalance it, but I do like it, and I'm excited to see how it looks with a full face, because I just wore it last night and I was like, whoa. Because it really doesn't look like it's going to be that dramatic, but when it builds, it is. That first coat is just kind of a nice sheer berry, but then as it builds, it starts to get really, really concentrated in kind of like a blue purple, a blurple, if you will. So what I was going to say is, this is actually a pretty easy formula to manipulate, which I super appreciate, especially something that's going to be as contrasty against my skin. The worst case scenario, right, is that it's very staining. And in those cases, a lot of times you end up, getting it everywhere. And if you're not super skilled at it, you'll just put it away and never pick it back up again, right? Because you're just like, I get in too deep too fast with it. But it's actually like, it's super vampy, but it's a very, very actually like super easy formula to work with. Building that up as much as I'm comfortable with, right? Trying to get as like heavy a saturation as I can. Quite vampy. It very much accentuates my Cupid's bow, and I'm not like a huge fan of that. I already have such like an angular face that I feel like exaggerates too much. I like to soften all this stuff, so it's like you can kind of reach your finger up, soften the edges really nicely, right? Like that. And it's just such a velvety, just enough matte kind of formula that it's even easier to work with than the velvet formulas from Lisa Eldridge. Yes, it is that easy. It's a very, very comfortable formula. So as I'm like kind of, smoothing out my Cupid's bow and everything, I like that, the kind of blurred edges, but what I like even more is it a little bit blotted. Because you lose that blue concentration a little bit. And then I would throw probably a nude gloss or just a clear gloss on top of it. And it's very fall, right? It's just a nice look. I like it. It's got a lot of purple in it. And so that saturation could work really beautifully to counterbalance some of the undertones in your skin if you find that things have to have some blue in them to work for you, or like me, you can kind of wear it blotted and you keep it from going over the top. But like the blue, granted, my teeth are porcelain, but blue by definition, right, is gonna make your teeth look whiter, which is great. So it will do that for photos and stuff. And a lot of times it's very much like, you know, a painting or drawing or whatever. When you're being photographed, wearing things that are dramatic on your face are going to actually help your face look more realistic in photos from far away. It's just kind of up close. When I'm used to seeing myself in very undramatic looks, the contrast is a little bit jarring. And it's about to get more jarring because I'm about to just stack the other eye look right on top of this. So let me wipe this lip off and we will do that. So just for reference's sake and to give my lips some hydration in the meantime, I'm just gonna put on the clear wet lip oil. Jellyfish is the name of the shade. From Kosas, like that, you know, and I don't object to either one. This is just easier because as it wears off, I don't feel like I have to like be super, super diligent about reapplying it. I went lighter on the blush and everything too, because I just wanted there to not be too many focal points on my face. So the first thing I'm gonna do is kind of just wipe off the top layer of the shimmery stuff here, and that's gonna help this stick, but this does, I mean, I'm wiping, I mean, not hard, it's my eyes, but I mean, I'm really trying to get that shimmer off of there, and it's not easy, you know? And I like that. I like that it is a formula that really wants to commit. I really appreciate that about it. So now we're gonna go in with the drama, okay? I'm going to use the other 4 shades in this palette. So the first thing that I'm going to do is start with the purpley shades to start taking this eye look in a cool tone direction. Using those same 2 brushes, again, the 201 and the 202 from BK, starting here with our lovely little mauve shade. Sorry, that one's called Plush Tulle. The other one is Magnum Mauve. And you'll also start, I didn't realize this was gonna happen, but you'll start to be able to see what the hybrid of the eye looks would be if you were to use kind of the cool tones with the warm tones. I appreciate, as a color theory nerd, having cool tones and warm tones in the same palette because cool tones make something recede from the eye, warm tones make them look like it's coming towards you, and so you do actually usually need both. Even if that just means that they are warm and cool in contrast to one another. It doesn't mean you have to put like orange on your eyelids and blue in your crease. It's just, they could be the exact same color, just different undertones. So you see that cool tone in my crease makes my eyelids pop even more. And it's not even necessarily detectable yet as a lilac type color. Very, very easy color for me to wear though, because it's so already in my skin. And then I'm gonna take the other one that's a little bit flatter, and I'm just gonna lay some of that Magnum Mauve more in the crease and on the outer corner to build the illusion. I always get the freaking shadow like right here. It's like impossible not to. I guess it's just the shape of my eye. I need to like go straight in, I guess, instead of like flat like that. And the mattes, I actually think I began this thought whole minutes ago, entire minutes ago, and didn't finish it. But I think I was talking about how I was happily surprised by the texture of the shimmer and the satin, but I was actually surprised by the texture of the mattes because I was expecting them to be just as saturated. And I'm kind of happy that they aren't. It makes them easier to work with because you have time. You have time to build them. It's not like they just go on super, super, super full saturation and then like, uh-oh, you know, what am I gonna do? They will build to a beautiful full saturation. I don't think that they are dusty or ashy looking. Maybe the lighter shades might have trouble on deeper skin tones, but you know, you would know better than I would. You know your skin better than I do. But the saturation is not compromised by pigment, I guess is what I'm saying. You can get a lot of flexibility out of the actual pigment itself. Just starting to pull that deeper mauve a little bit further out, make a more flattering shape on my eye. Pull them kind of up instead of down, I guess. And now, for my next trick, I'm gonna stick my finger in Black Tie, which is honestly what I would have called that shade too. It's such like a party midnight kind of color. There was a shade like that in, I wanna say, a holiday palette that I tried from Beauty Counter a while ago, and it was such a disappointing shade, and this one is not. It's not. I'm so pleased to say it's not. And even on top of the shadow that was already there, this goes on full saturation. It's super satisfying. Like, I probably could have gone for a primer on top of everything to get it to stick even more, but it's still not really giving me any fallout. And like I said, I'm pretty sure Olivia Palermo, I could be wrong, I need to look. I'm saying this twice in a video and I haven't even looked. I'm pretty sure she has brown eyes because, like, that is a blue that doesn't give me glowing demon red eyes, which is pretty awesome. And again, like I said, the way that this blends is really lovely because you can get this really nice, like a lot of times these kinds of shades, because they're so dissonant to everything else in the palette, they'll be hard to blend with everything. But this has this beautiful texture as it blends where you just get this multi-reflective shimmer. It just sort of does like a little galactic burst up into the rest of your eye look. I thought I saw a chia seed in my teeth. Wouldn't be the first time. Gorgeous, right? Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to dip a brush into that and just feather the edges ever so slightly. Make sure everything's nice and blended. This is a Wayne Goss 06, and I haven't yet used the deep, deep kind of gray purple that's in here. So I'm going to use just a touch of that on the outer corner to really drive the point home. You know, just really go for it here. So yeah, this highlight on the inner corner is still that nice warm champagne color. And it's gonna keep it from looking too ethereal, because that's not what I'm going for. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just not what I'm going for. All right, I'm going to, again, like refresh everything. Just do my eyeliner and my mascara a little bit again, my brows again, and then we'll come back and we'll put the lighter color of the lip on. While my face is drying, I'll explain a little bit what I did. We are starting to kind of jump the shark, right? You know, piling that much eyeshadow on, essentially changing my mind in the middle of an eye look. It's gonna start to look a little bit muddy, and I know that if I had done this alone, because I have done it alone, that blue would be showing up so much more, that blue-black. So bear that in mind. It looks a little oil slicky at the moment, which I don't hate, but it also looks a lot more pure in its midnight crystalline, you know, magic if you don't try and like smack it on top of a pre-existing eye look. So my nice nourished lips. Now we're going to throw the other shade on, and I want to warn you, this is definitely not my comfort zone for one very specific reason. When I have this much color on my face, a matte lip that doesn't really preserve any of the dimension of my lips makes me uncomfortable. That's why I like nude glosses and clear glosses. It's because when you see gloss, the light reacts to it in an enhanced way instead of mattifying your lips and making them look flat. And something about the way that the light hits a matte lip for me, it just looks strange. But I'm going to do it to show you guys the color, and then, you know, for my own comfort, I will probably just throw a gloss on top of it. All right. Going in with Rosebud here. Creamy, gorgeous. She is pink. That is Rosebud. It's mixing a little bit with the remaining wet lip oil that I had on, and so it's actually looking even creamier than usual. And I do like that it picks up the little bit of pink that is in my eye look. That purple tends to counterbalance the yellow in my undertones, and then it turns a little bit more pink. And so you are seeing those two things mirrored, but it's a look. Like, it's still a look. So, you know, what I would typically do is something more like a blotted, you know, and that's what she looks like blotted. It's very nice, but, you know, I've got, what is this called? Faux Real from Pat McGrath. You still end up with a really dramatic look, but somehow this preserves that warmth of the rest of the nude tones in my skin and in my makeup look more than that pink does. So now that eye look looks like it has this really beautiful blushy tan in it instead of like a pure pinky purple. And it's just because I changed the lip. I would typically put on more blush, but like, whoa, you know, think whoa is the word here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual offering, her claims on it and everything, and then I'll move into my final thoughts. Girlfriend is so pretty. She is so pretty. I was right, she has brown eyes. I got one thing right. Now there are other things. There is a pre-show mattifying mist, if that's something that appeals to you, because I don't need mattification, but I'm only one person. The Primetime Illuminating Serum, memory served, was $40. We'll start with the claims on that. This dual-purpose lilac-hued serum acts as both a high-performance primer and radiance booster. The unique universal shade looks good on any skin type and has been created to dress the skin in a glow without excess shimmer. Can be used either alone for moisturizing color corrector or before makeup application to create the perfect canvas. Multifunctional emollients and ultrafine reflective pigments deliver translucent luminosity, while the peptide-rich formula energizes the skin. Hyaluronic acid nourishes the skin with added moisture, adding a natural glow to one's daily makeup routine. I like that there are no wackadoodle claims there. It's like, hey, here are the ingredients, here's what they're intended to do. There's nothing like, this is gonna change your life, this is going to be life-proof, pollution-proof, you know, there's no like health and wellness language in here. It's like, this is pretty. And it's gonna make your skin look pretty. And it's gonna be functional under makeup. I love that. This did give my skin an instant bounce. It did. And it was really, really lovely. It really did exactly what they claim that it does. So I love that for it. I love that journey for me. We'll go next to the eyeshadow palette, which is $58. It's expensive. So there is the one that I got that is Soiree, and the other one is called Au Naturel. And they both have a blue in them. It's called Caldera Blue, whereas this one is called Black Tie. So it is much more blue, whereas this one is like a black shift blue. So either way, you're getting kind of a really cool punchy shade. And we have talked about, I mean, the whole beauty community has talked about this for years, right? I think it's called a pop of blue gimmick or a pop of color gimmick a lot of times in palettes. If it's an otherwise neutral palette, they'll throw a pop of color in so you can't say, oh, this is exactly like every other palette that I have. So bear that in mind, but I will vouch for the formula. The formula has payoff. That blue is not just a throwaway color in the palette, but I kind of want the other one just because those tones are so beautiful and now I know how good the formula is. So I think that they're great. Yeah, so there's dimethicone in all of these eyeshadows. So that's why they have such a lovely slip to them and they're so lightweight and they actually stick really nicely. So I am all in on that. All in on the dimethicone and the eyeshadow. And then talking about this matte lipstick, it is $38. It's a little bit pricey. It's a little bit pricey for a lipstick, I will admit that. A matte lipstick for a deeper undertone. Oh, cool. That glides on smoothly and provides long-lasting coverage and moisture. Easily glides on lips, coating them with color without drying the lips. Easy lip absorption. I'm like, just blah. My mouth is full of marbles. Creates an optimal combination of moisture and softness. Enriched ingredients provide the ultimate protection for your lips. When mask comes off, the lips come on. Wow, she's really with it. I also, and I'm going to have a warm take here, I love when brands tell you that something is intended for a deeper undertone, okay? Like, and I think that she means a deeper skin tone. I think that there is something really lovely about that because everything trying to rush to the middle and claiming to be universal is a lie. And it's never going to be like satisfactory for everybody. Anyway, okay, well, I think that this very over-the-top face is ready to move into her final thoughts. Let's talk about this first and foremost. Primetime Illuminating Serum. Really beautiful, like I said, reminds me a lot of the Vesca. I wanna say slimier texture. It has a slimier texture. When I said snot, I didn't mean that in like a bad way. It does have a little bit of like a sliminess to it in a really lovely way. You know, like snail slime or something. It feels more nourishing. It's got more presence on the skin. It's got a really beautiful serum consistency where you can actually tell that like it's improving just the, you know, the tactile nature of your skin, like the way that it feels when you touch it. And that's probably gonna help your makeup go on more smoothly, but it sticks around and it's a really pretty glow. So yeah, I would kind of compare it a little bit to somewhere in between the Vesca for the color and the Smashbox Halo Plumping Dew hyaluronic acid, but I like it better. And I think that it's like the same price as those two. I think that it would be easy to kind of get like your eyes glittered from this, so to speak, being like, oh, well, I'm going to get the Vesca or I'm going to get the Smashbox because they're obviously going to be less expensive because it's such a luxury line. I think 40 bucks is about in line with all the rest of them, right? You know, this is also an ounce and it's $39. So there you go. And the Vesca Soft Sun Radiant Primer and Luminizer is $30. So it is, and that's for 1 ounce. So it is going to be less expensive. It's also in different packaging. So I mean, you are paying for kind of the luxury of it all, this being in glass and whatnot. So those are kind of the comparable products, I feel like, but I really enjoy this. Headbands, oh my God. Next, talking about these lipsticks. There are no silicones in them. Well, there's no dimethicone in them. I don't exactly know how to identify silicones specifically. There might be, but they behave so beautifully. They're very agreeable. You can get them to different like levels of saturation and they feather really nicely on the edges so that you don't have to use a lip liner. I just found them to be like, they wear blotted beautifully. There's something really lovely about that, about the flexibility of the coverage. And I also love that the Chianti specifically builds up to that really crazy intensity. Am I a lip color person? Not necessarily. And so when I do reach for one of these, it actually probably will be Chianti, just because if I'm going for a lip, I'm really going for a lip, you know? The Rosebud, it's like, if that pink is for you and you're a lipstick person, absolutely. But for me, my personal makeup collection, that's not really for me, just because something that's that fair toned, I don't want it in a matte. You know, I want it in a gloss so that it looks really like natural and bouncy and I don't have to manage it over the day. So it's just not for me necessarily, but the formula's gorgeous. And the component, if I haven't said it already, is like, it's amazing. All right, let's see if we can muscle through with this for the rest of the video. Like I said, these all have dimethicone in them. That is kind of neat. I dig this a lot. I like it a whole lot. I love interacting with something that feels so luxurious. This looks really luxurious online, but when I got it in my hand, it was a 50-50 chance whether it was going to be this like gorgeous, heavy, pure metal that feels like Kierweiss. Actually, it's even heavier than Kierweiss. Or if it was gonna be like gilded plastic, you know, acrylic, whatever. No, this is beautiful. So yeah, you got the mirror in there and it's very, you know, very touch-up friendly in that respect. I also think that as far as buildability and payoff are concerned, these shadows are my personal preference. My personal preference being the mattes are not crazy oversaturated, and so they're not super sticky. So it's not like you stamp them in one spot and then they won't blend anymore, but you can build them up to pure saturation and they don't blend away. They feel luxurious in that sense, and they feel like someone who likes eyeshadow and has experienced things that they do like and things that they don't like and has strong opinions about their preferences had a lot of say in this, just guessing. And then these two shades, while the only, you know, textured shades in the palette, they serve an amazing purpose. Like each of these is its own eye look, you know? This is a soiree in and of itself, and this is just the most lovely, lovely, anytime, any day, beautiful, you could wear it completely by itself color. I know that just looks like any old copper, guys, but when you touch it, it feels somehow like velvet, but also like slick at the same time. And oh my gosh, you know how sometimes when you rub a swatch in, it starts to rub away? This one just gets more consistent. Like I can just like really like rub that into my skin and it just self-levels. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and the foil of it sticks around. I'm very, very impressed by these eyeshadows. I really, really am. Final thoughts on the whole line. I guess I should start by saying that my expectations going into this were, I had no idea what to expect. I kind of thought, okay, she is chasing down the same vibe as Victoria Beckham Beauty, and it's probably going to feel a lot like that. I think it's better. I think it's better in the sense that it feels more like luxury makeup. Victoria Beckham Beauty feels like luxury clean beauty, especially her eyeshadows. I don't know, just her eyeshadow palette. The lid lusters are phenomenal. But this is kind of the best of both worlds in one palette. So you're getting that lovely, you know, cream-ish powder texture in a couple of these, and then also mattes that I feel like are more luxurious and more functional than the ones that are in her smoky eye brick, the Victoria Beckham smoky eye brick. And also, you know, my expectations were that something would feel like it fell off the map. Like something was gonna feel like the star of the show, and then other things would be kind of like throwaways. in this sense, I feel like she put out the things that she felt confident about. And that's why there isn't a foundation or a concealer or whatever yet. Even sometimes when, you know, you put out a lot, like Rosy Ink, you know, she put out a bunch of stuff and I was like, these brows, I feel nothing. Like I feel nothing for the brow product. And so to me, that was kind of a throwaway. Or like Refi, I'm like, why did you put out blushes? They're completely unnecessary. There's nothing new about this. But the rest of her stuff was gorgeous. This feels like a full thought. This feels like a whole story. This feels like this was exactly what she wanted to put her stamp of approval on. And I think every single one of them does exactly what they have committed to doing, and they don't overstate their purpose. I like that too. So I really, really like this, and I'm glad that I bought it, and I kind of want to buy the other one. So it surprised me in how good it is. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I certainly did. And if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.